If you're someone who keeps up with current events in the gaming space and Nintendo, you've probably heard about the big price increases for not the Nintendo Switch 2, but the regular Nintendo Switch. And I have the numbers written down right here. The Nintendo Switch went from $300 to $340. The Switch Lite went from $200 to $230. The Switch OLED went from $350 to $400, and the Joy-Cons went from $80 to $90. Now, in Nintendo's own statement, they said that the reason they're raising these prices is because of market conditions. Also, most of the Switch 2 accessories did go up again by $5, like the Joy-Con 2s, and the amiibos went up by like $4. The legacy amiibos, the new amiibos could be $5 to $10 more expensive depending on the amiibo. So of course, with everything that's been going on with Nintendo, of course there's even more outlash, more outrage, more backlash. People are very mad about this. They're saying that Nintendo is the most evil and greedy game company ever. You know, some people are saying that, well, what do you want Nintendo to do? They're a business and they're doing this because of President Donald Trump's tariffs that he has imposed on the countries where these accessories and parts, consoles are manufactured, like Japan, China, I don't know if it's Taiwan or Vietnam, I really can't remember right now, but I know there are some high tariffs, so I think it is common sense to at least believe that that's part of the story. Maybe the corporate greed could be playing a part in it too, because I know a lot of people's argument is that, well, Nintendo has all these Nintendo Switch 1 systems sitting here already in warehouses, all the accessories, so why would they need to raise the prices for the regular Nintendo Switch? Well, maybe this is just my theory, but maybe Nintendo is just in a way trying to tell us, like, look, hey, we're raising the price of all of this because we want to keep this Nintendo Switch 2 price the same for you. So we're suggesting that you buy this one before we end up having to raise the price on this console as well. And I think Nintendo will try to keep the Switch 2 priced at the current price, at least through the holiday season. But if you're someone that's interested in buying the Nintendo Switch 2, could now possibly be the best time to buy a Nintendo Switch 2? Honestly, I do think so. I know a lot of people are saying they're going to wait for the inevitable revision or the upgrade where we might get a better battery, maybe a OLED screen on it. But honestly, I think even if that does happen, I think the cost is going to go up significantly with the tariffs being passed on to you with that. I'm not saying this is all tariffs. Honestly, I'm not Sway. I don't have all the answers. I do think that's part of the equation. I do think these companies are very hungry for profit. I think they're going to get ahead of the tariffs before they allowed themselves to even lose a single cent. They're going to try to pass the price on to you and me as the consumers. And it does suck. I mean, the whole modern state of the economy, modern society, etc. sucks. And it just really sucks that one of the ways that people try to escape this broken world that we live in by playing video games is now becoming more expensive than ever. But I mean, I guess it is what it is. But Nintendo also did say in their own statement basically that in the future they may have to update prices again based on market conditions. So I think that does really spell it out right there, that Nintendo is saying, hey, if you want the Switch 2 at the current price, go ahead and get it right now. But for the rest of this video, I just want to talk about the actual value of the Switch 2 and if it's worth picking one up right now. I think if you're primarily a handheld gamer who prefers the game on a console like I do, you like first-party Nintendo games, I think it's a no-brainer. 100% it's worth it. Even with all the controversy, even with the key cards, which I'm not really a fan of at all. As someone who plays primarily on handheld, I'd rather just play all my games in one place anyway. So if there's a game I really want on a key card, I probably will just go ahead and pick it up on the Nintendo Switch 2, because why would I want to go and spend like another, what, $400 or $500 and buy a Steam Deck, having to worry about tinkering with the PC settings if the game isn't deck verified and all that. I'm cool just being able to put the cartridge in and play the game, and even if I have to download it, okay, I'm waiting 10-15 minutes here, then I'm playing my game. But the Nintendo Switch 2 also does make the Nintendo Switch 1 library of games way better, because basically all of, or at least most of these third-party games, even first-party games on the Nintendo Switch 1, when you play them in the Nintendo Switch 2, if they didn't have stable frame rates, they're gonna hit a rock-steady, stable frame rate on the Nintendo Switch 2. And of course, all the games that have received official upgrades, like even some from Nintendo themselves, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, truly do look absolutely phenomenal on the Nintendo Switch 2. I do think it is a significant leap in power. This console has been able to handle things like Cyberpunk 2077, although it may not be on par with PS5. It's running at 30 or 40 frames per second. It's still cool that they were able to make that happen. It still is a very competent port, and graphically, visually, it is pretty comparable to like the Xbox Series S for that game and for this console as a whole. From the power, I would say basically from what I've heard about the Switch 2 is that graphically it can be better than the Series S, but performance wise it's a bit weaker. But from the games I've played myself, honestly, they've only been the first party games so far. I've played Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think they're a lot of fun. I think they do run great on the Switch 2, and they do show the significant leap in power that we have with this console. I just hope that third parties are able to take advantage of that, and we can also get more games on Switch 2 that have performance options and not a lot of compromised ports at 30 frames per second. But I guess we'll see what happens with that. But another thing I'll say about the Switch 2 is that it just feels really premium. I love the way the Joy-Con 2s feel when you just take them on and off with the magnet. It just feels so seamless. I haven't had that problem with the Switch 1, like the Switch 1 Joy-Cons where the Joy-Con would kind of slide off the rails. Hopefully that won't be a problem again. I've never had my Joy-Con 2s just slip off the magnet. And I have to say that the Switch 2 does just feel really premium, really quality. It feels really good in my hands. And I know there's been a lot of controversy about the screen on the Nintendo Switch 2. Oh, you're going to get a glimpse of what I've actually been playing here. No, I don't think this is anything too spoilery. I'm not in any area where you can really tell what's going on in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Just a little room here. But let's get back to what I was saying about the Nintendo Switch 2 screen. Now, I know a lot of people have said that the Nintendo Switch 2 screen is just terrible. It's a big downgrade from the OLED. But speaking from personal experience, from my own two eyes, when I've played these big AAA, first-party, bright, colorful 3D games, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, I have to say, to me, the Nintendo Switch 2 screen actually does look like an upgrade. It looks even brighter than the Nintendo Switch OLED screen, which I believe it is, but I've heard people say that the Nintendo Switch OLED has more like true colors, and of course the true blacks on there are gonna look better. And one thing they've said about the Switch 2 screen is that you can notice a bit of ghosting when you play 2D games, like if you're running really fast in Super Mario World or something, but I haven't tested that on it. I haven't been looking for mistakes on it. I've just been playing it, having fun, and it has been a lot of fun. I will say as well, a lot of things, one thing that people don't really talk about with these handhelds is the speakers. The OLED was a big upgrade for the speakers on that compared to the regular Nintendo Switch and the Switch Lite. And I will say that the Nintendo Switch 2 speakers are even an upgrade from the OLED. The first thing that I noticed when I played the Switch 2 was that the speakers have surround sound. They sound really good, really loud and clear. And when you do the voice chat online, you can hear people so clear on there, even louder than a speakerphone on a cell phone. It sounds really good. It's a really nice feature to have. So overall, I do think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is worth buying if you're someone who plays primarily on handheld. And also, if you're a big fan of first-party Nintendo games, if you know you're going to want the new Mario, you know you're going to want the new Zelda, you know you're going to want the new Pokemon. They are coming with the Pokemon Legends ZA bundle when that game comes out. For the Nintendo Switch 2, they're going to have the console and the game bundled for $500, just like they did with Mario Kart World. So, I mean, if you're not against having one of those games digital, you can get the game bundle and get a little discount there, save $20 to $30 depending on the game. But I 100% think it's worth buying for handheld gamers and first-party Nintendo fans. Of course, I haven't tried it myself yet because I pretty much just play on handheld, but there is an upgrade on the dock as well. You're going to get 4K now. You're going to get better performance now. But anyway, I really appreciate you all watching. I would like to know, what do you think about this topic, the whole price increase? What do you think about the Nintendo Switch 2? If you like the video, please drop a like on it. And if you're not already and you like Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 content, you might as well subscribe to the channel if you're here at the end of my video. I really do appreciate you watching, and I will catch you all on the next one.